This flower blooms not once, not twice, but 3 times a year, and yet I feel like they are still underrated. Bees and pollinators definitely love it, so they are great for the environment. It is a low maintenance, high impact plant that thrives in the toughest spots, even under giant oak trees under lots of shade, even in hot, humid places like where I live off the coast of Georgia.
I am under this oak tree in Savannah, Georgia.
There are so many varieties to choose from depending on your area and your garden's needs. And if you plant it now, you'll have a show-stopping garden year-round.
Hey, my name is Cynthia, and I am here in the backyard wanting to share with you my azaleas. So there are 10,000 different varieties of azaleas. I happen to have 3 of them.
Come out here with me. Let's get out of the porch because I want to show you in the back under those pine trees. There's some underplantings that I've put together. Now, there's a nice view of the little water, but I have decided that I want some azaleas back here. And there's a couple varieties under the pine trees. Azaleas have been around for millions of years. There's some fossil evidence that shows that they could be as old as 60 million years.
And I got mine from my in-laws. I took little cuttings from them.
I found this picture in the archives, and I can tell you that's not a small cutting, but I did get them from them. So here they are. They are in their 3rd season here at home, and actually they are budding out beautifully. You can see them. Look at this close-up of how many little buds are getting ready to flower, because this usually happens around St. Patrick's Day, and so I know that's my cue. Look at this. It's so beautiful. I was so excited to get them from my in-laws that I did not even pay attention to how big they get. I mean, they get big. And they have them as a hedge with some privets between their neighbors. They have so much space that they never had to worry about how big they got because they just kind of stayed on the sideline and it didn't bother anything. Here's a video, but it doesn't really give justice to how they look in real life. They are beautiful. But there's 2 problems here. One is that they only bloom in the spring, and the second is that they get so big and unruly that you really have to prune them and take care of them and be after them. Otherwise, they get kind of wild looking and lanky, and I don't love them like that. But these azaleas were a game changer. I'm going to show you very clearly. In this image, you're going to see them on the right side. They are the ones that my in-laws gave me. And on the left side are the Encore Azaleas. They really look similar, but they really are not.
You know, I could really nerd out when it comes to science and plants. Scientists grab one plant and another, and they're like, okay, this one is really good at this thing, and this one is really good at another thing, and they combine them and make babies, and whoa, you have something amazing.
I'm over here editing the video and I'm just laughing at myself. Did you enjoy the scientific explanation for hybridization? That was really scientific, wasn't it? Azaleas will naturally propagate, but you can propagate them too. This is something that's easy to do. It's called the trench method. And so you find a low-hanging branch from a healthy azalea plant. You bend it down and partially bury a section into the soil. You keep it moist and let nature do its work. After months, new roots are going to form and you can separate them as a new plant. Basically, that's the type of plant I got from my in-laws. They were naturally starting to grow new babies right next to them as the branches were like bearing themselves. I think I'm going to continue because I think the way that azaleas look really great is when they're mass planted under the tree. So I think I need some more. And the way my backyard is set up with those pine trees in the back, it really does lend itself to a mass underplanting.
I also have 2 native azaleas. Now, these natives are beautiful. They are deciduous, which means that they lose their leaves, but then because they lose their leaves, the trade-off is that their flower is even more gorgeous. So there's pros and cons to different ones, but today I want to talk to you not about 10,000 different cultivars. I want to talk to you about 31 different cultivars, and specifically I'll share what my one cultivar is doing for me and what it can do for many gardeners across all of the United States.
Did you know that rhododendrons and azaleas belong to the same genus? And that is because they have more similarities than they do differences. I bring this up because if for some reason you can't find an azalea within those 10,000 cultivars, that can grow mostly in all of the United States. I'm sure you can find a rhododendron. If not, if it's really, really cold where you live, take a look at this one. The Northern Lights Azaleas are a hybrid that was made by the University of Minnesota in the 70s, and these were designed to survive harsh winters in the USDA zones 3 to 5, tolerating temperatures as low as -30 to -40 degrees Fahrenheit. They do have large, big, colorful blooms, and they are reblooming as well. This is a cross between the rhododendron and the costaranum. Pollinators will love the azaleas, and they're also perennial, so they will come back year after year. You can choose from deciduous or evergreen varieties, and so there's so much that you can choose from.
So I mentioned that there were 31 different cultivars I was going to talk to you about, and that is because that's the amount of cultivars that are Encore. So there was a scientist named Buddy Lee. So he combined all sorts of azaleas that had amazing properties and figured out how to make the Encore azaleas rebloom. And they will definitely bloom twice a year, but sometimes they will bloom even 3 times a year. So it'll be like spring, summer, and fall. So that's why the Encore azaleas are amazing. Not only that, is that they've also been hybridized to be able to handle more cold or more sun or more whatever.
So this little plant was when I first planted my very first autumn royalty Encore. And I've been buying this variety ever since because I do want to create that mass planting. Now you don't have to deadhead them, you don't really have to fertilize them, you don't have to do much of anything. You don't have to trim them if you don't want to. You can, but you don't have to. These really do take care of themselves. And so I like them because they're easy to care for and they're the right size. They are 4.5 feet tall by 4 feet wide. And because of that size, they're a mid range plant, then they get to be good foundation plants. You can get dwarf ones, you can get bigger ones, you can get all sorts of them. I planted these autumn chiffon in my sister-in-law's house, and so far they're kind of slow growers. They've been a little bit more compact. You can see the leaves are smaller, and I haven't seen them bloom yet. They've kind of delayed, so I'm not so sure if we're going to love them or not. They aren't fussy and really don't need much fertilizing, but if you want to fertilize them, you can do so once a year in the early spring. I am sure that you can find one cultivar that's special to you, that reblooms for you and is easy to care for. I have put them together in my blog because of the 31 different varieties. I wanted to put them in a way for you that you could easily understand them by categories. That way you could like take a glance and pick the one that's for you. And you can find that out in my blog. I also put that in the description below. I know most people don't use them as cut flowers, but I do because I like how they look with my blue vases. Here's the little vases that I was talking about. I have these, and for reference, my hand, what? It's like two of my hands. I don't know. So I actually do need to dust. Shit. I need to dust and all sorts of stuff, but don't look there. Look at these little things that I've got here. I've got all this, like what, chinoiserie? Is that what it's called? Chinoiserie, whatever it is. If you followed me at all, you probably have seen this table setting and that I love setting the table really pretty because why not? Check this out. When I was researching for this video, I came upon people that were making bonsais out of azaleas. So you can do whatever you want, and there's so much for everyone here. You might not really believe me when I tell you that I don't consider myself a gardener. I consider myself someone who likes to have a beautiful backyard, a beautiful outdoor space, and I like to have company and welcome them and spend time in the outdoors. But I do like my landscape looking good. I like my home looking good. I like welcoming people. And if that's kind of like your thing, if you're kind of like me where you like some gardening, you do like to landscape your space, you like that kind of stuff, you might be interested in something that I put together. It's a home planner. So because I do so many projects at home, I put together something that will help me plan out, budget out, and all the things for all my projects, whether they are indoor and outdoor. And I do have a section specifically for outdoor that it's kind of more seasonal. So that way, in the spring, I get to cleaning everything. And then I'll jot down notes of like, oh, I've got to do all this kind of stuff that will really help me out. I mean, I'm getting to a point where I need to jot things down. And also it's good as far as like almost like a journal to know like what have I been doing and what kind of progress is there in the garden. So it's something that you could use digitally or something you could print down. It's really simple. I made it for me so that I can keep up with my shenanigans, and I'm hoping that it will help you as well. So if you want to grab that, it is in the link below. It is completely free, my gift to you, and we can continue to create projects that bring us joy. Because remember that you and I can create bliss at home, in the garden, and in our lives.